Thank you.
Frank, can I?
Okay.
Frank,
Yes?
can I ask?
Oh, go ahead. So, question number 7, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could comment on general citywide issues regarding congestion pricing, regarding New York as a sanctuary city, and just regarding safety, crime and safety in New York City, and what as a council person you could do about that.
So I do not like congestion pricing, and I hope Donald Trump is going to really push to get rid of it as he's been trying. Obviously, the governor's office has been pushing back really hard on it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. It really adds up to the monthly expense that somebody has, just going to work every day. I would vote it out. And if, we're ever in a position that we can do that, I of course would support getting rid of it altogether. And then your second question was?
Sanctuary city, New York is a sanctuary city, and should New York City agencies cooperate with ICE?
So as someone who is an immigrant, my family came here illegally, and I obviously have a soft, heart for immigrants. I believe that, certain immigrants that have made a life here, even though they're here illegally, but they've been here for years, they raised their kids here, they're educated their kids here, they should be protected. So I think a sanctuary city is okay, but it needs to be a smart sanctuary city, because it really interferes with our safety. I think it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, right? But there's definitely issues that have been arising for the open border crisis. But I also see that there's unfairness, people getting plucked out of their cars, out of their homes, out of their schools that are not a threat to society just because they're here illegally for 10 or 20 years. I think they should be left alone. That's personally my opinion. So I believe in changing the sanctuary city to make it broader, to protect the people that should be protected under that.
Just what about the crime issue and dealing?
And so with the crime issue, that's kind of related to, a lot of it is homeless, right? A lot of the stuff we see in the news is the homeless that push people in the train, stab people, they're violent, they're deranged, right? So we have a 3-tier solution for people like that are really a threat to society and to themselves. They should be taken to somewhere where they can have long-term care, they would have a roof over their head, they would have food, they would have the treatment that they need, and they would make our streets safer. They would reduce the police burden. I also believe that citizens should have pepper spray. I don't know why it's legal. We don't have pepper spray in New York. We can have pepper spray in Florida. It's ridiculous that people are able to protect themselves on the subway late at night, especially in a city that is, like that.
Thank you. I'll move over, Chris. Chris, congestion pricing. Through the conversation I was having with Chris, I am, in an ideal world, we would have fewer cars on the street. I believe in that. I believe that reducing emissions from cars is one of the most meaningful ways that we can help protect our environment in New York City. And throwing money at the MTA is not the solution. I passionately believe we could give the MTA $1 trillion and they wouldn't know what to do with it. So that's what challenges me about the MTA, is that we're throwing money at a solution. We're burdening working class people with yet another tax. And my party, and I'm most critical of the Democratic Party as a Democrat, have been in the era of tax and spend. Instead of taking ownership for the mismanagement of the MTA, let's pass that burden off to someone else. So I want to be able to expand public transportation, and I want to be able to provide it to areas that don't even have it, right, in parts of our city where you're walking 45 minutes to an hour to get to a subway station. But at the same time, throwing more money at an agency that doesn't know how to manage it is not the solution to that problem. Secondly,
Well, but yes or no, are you in favor of the congestion pricing system as it currently exists?
as it currently exists, no, because I don't think throwing money at the MTA is how we're going to fix that agency. That agency needs to be retooled before we keep pumping money into it.
Okay, and New York City as a sanctuary city and cooperation with ICE?
I believe that sanctuary cities, or the term sanctuary city, much like congestion pricing, has been buzzword for either side to retreat to the extremes of these conversations, and I think we can be meaningful about them. I think that no country in the world would allow people who are in their country illegally and commit crimes to remain in that country. And I don't believe that we should allow schools or hospitals or houses of worship to be places of target. People who went to the courthouse yesterday in Lower Manhattan were targeted, right? Undocumented people who were showing up for court cases, trying to do the right thing, were being targeted. That is important, right? And so life is gray, and it's not a black and white this or that. It can be true, two things at one time, that people who are here and are contributing to our society need a faster and easier way to become citizens, and they need to be protected, especially in vulnerable places like houses of worship and schools. And those who are here who are doing crime do not need to be allowed to stay in our country. And that is not a radical idea. That's literally what the other 190 countries of the world would do. When it comes to safety, I know that theft is up 17% in this district in the last 2 years. That's disproportionately affecting our small family-owned businesses. And I believe that a lot of our safety issues are around a culture of enforcement, and a lot of culture work needs to happen in every area of city government, where city agencies just aren't providing or doing what they need to be doing. And I think that's a top-down tone setting from the mayor's office, from the city council, to enforce the laws that we already have on the books, particularly around like pedestrian safety, I know, which is a major concern in this district.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?